Wellness Rhythm Show. Find your rhythm. Live your wellness.
Y'all, let me tell you something that genuinely shocked me. I was at my annual checkup last year, and my doctor casually mentioned that the time to start protecting your bones is not when you're 70. It's right now. And I just sat there thinking, I'm 38. Why are we talking about this?
Right, and that reaction is completely understandable. Most people associate bone density with elderly women hunching over walkers. But here's what the research actually says. Peak bone mass, the maximum density your skeleton will ever achieve, is largely set by your early 30s.
Which means a lot of us listening right now have already hit that peak and might not even know it. Today, we're talking about bone density, why it matters way earlier than you think, and honestly, what you can actually do about it without overhauling your entire life.
And whether you're juggling toddlers, managing aging parents, or staring down retirement, this one touches everyone. Let's dig in.
So let's start with the basics. When I hear bone density, I picture, I don't know, chalk, something dry and static. But bones are actually living tissue, right?
Exactly right. Bone is constantly being broken down and rebuilt in a process called remodeling. You have cells called osteoclasts doing the breaking down and osteoblasts doing the building up. When you're young, the builders win. As you age, that balance shifts.
So it's like a construction crew that slowly starts losing workers.
That's a surprisingly accurate analogy. And the trouble is, bone loss is completely silent. There are no symptoms. The National Osteoporosis Foundation estimates that 54 million Americans have low bone density or osteoporosis, and many don't find out until they fracture something.
Which is terrifying. And I want to pause here because I know some of our listeners might be thinking, okay, but I'm 45. Is this already too late for me? And I want to be really clear, it is not too late.
Absolutely not. While you can't fully reverse significant bone loss, you can slow it dramatically, and in some cases improve density, particularly in the early stages. The research on this is quite encouraging.
So let's talk about why this peaks so early. Because I genuinely did not know that my 30s were crunch time for my skeleton.
Right, here's what I've learned on this. About 90% of peak bone mass is achieved by age 18 in girls and 20 in boys. But the final consolidation, the real solidifying of that peak, continues into your late 20s and early 30s. After that, you're essentially managing what you've built.
So our teenage years actually mattered a lot more than we realized. All those years I spent not drinking enough milk, apparently that was a problem.
Calcium in adolescence is genuinely critical. But here's the thing, it's not just calcium. The research consistently points to 3 pillars: calcium, vitamin D, and weight-bearing exercise. And most adults are deficient in at least 2 of those.
Oh, I am raising my hand on vitamin D. My levels were low when I got tested. And my doctor said that's incredibly common, especially for anyone who works indoors, which is, most of us.
The Endocrine Society recommends that adults maintain serum vitamin D levels above 30 nanograms per milliliter. Studies, including a large meta-analysis published in the New England Journal of Medicine, have shown that combined calcium and vitamin D supplementation reduces fracture risk, though the results are more robust when people are actually deficient.
So it's not just popping supplements and calling it a day. You actually need to know where you're starting from.
Precisely. Get your levels tested. Know your baseline. A DEXA scan, that's dual energy X-ray absorptiometry, is the gold standard for measuring bone density. The US Preventive Services Task Force recommends it routinely for women over 65, but doctors can and should order it earlier for higher risk individuals.
And here's where I want to push back a little, because I've heard people say, well, I do yoga, I walk every day, my bones are probably fine. And I was that person. But not all exercise is equal for bones, is it?
This is actually where I'd respectfully push back on a common wellness assumption. Yoga and walking are wonderful for overall health, flexibility, balance. But for bone density specifically, you need loading. Resistance training, impact exercise. The skeleton needs stress to respond.
I knew you were going to say resistance training.
The evidence is quite compelling on this. A study published in the Journal of Bone and Mineral Research found that progressive resistance training significantly improved bone density at the hip and spine in postmenopausal women. And research from Bellarmine University showed similar benefits from jump training, even brief sessions.
So jumping is actually good for your bones, like actual jumping jacks?
Odd as it sounds, yes. Impact forces signal the osteoblasts to get to work. Even things like stair climbing, hiking on uneven terrain, tennis. The key is that the skeleton has to feel some load.
Okay, y'all, if you are finding this as eye-opening as I did, please do us a favor and hit like and subscribe. We put a lot of work into making this stuff actually useful, and it genuinely helps us reach more people who need it.
Brilliant point. And we'd love to know, are you already doing any resistance training? Drop it in the comments.
Now let's talk about who's most at risk, because I want to address the sandwich generation listeners specifically. Those of us managing careers, kids, and aging parents. There's a double layer here.
There really is. First, you're in the life stage where your bone maintenance should be a priority. Second, you may be watching a parent navigate osteoporosis right now, which is a preview of what's preventable.
My mom fractured her hip 2 years ago, and watching that recovery was sobering. It was a real turning point for me personally.
Hip fractures in older adults carry serious consequences. Research published in the Journal of the American Medical Association found that roughly 20 to 30% of older adults who suffer a hip fracture die within a year, often from complications. It's one of the more sobering statistics in geriatric health.
That number stops me every time. And it's why this conversation needs to happen earlier, like decades earlier.
Let's also address hormones, because this is a significant driver. Estrogen plays a major protective role in bone maintenance. The bone loss women experience in the years around menopause can be quite rapid, sometimes 1 to 2% per year, accelerating to 3 to 5% in the early post-menopausal years.
Which is why women who are 45, 50 need to be having this conversation with their doctors now, not waiting for a fracture.
And men are not off the hook. Male bone loss tends to be more gradual, but low testosterone is a significant risk factor. The International Osteoporosis Foundation notes that 1 in 5 men over 50 will have an osteoporosis-related fracture in their lifetime.
1 in 5, that's not a small number. So let's get practical. For someone listening who's 35 or 50 or 65, what does a realistic starting point look like?
Step 1 genuinely is to talk to your GP. Ask about your vitamin D levels, calcium intake, and whether a DEXA scan is appropriate. You can't manage what you don't measure.
Step 2 for me was actually adding 2 short resistance sessions a week, not hour-long gym sessions. 20 minutes twice a week, squats, lunges, some light lifting. I started with a YouTube channel, honestly.
Which is entirely evidence-backed. Research from McMaster University suggests that even low-volume resistance training, done consistently, produces meaningful musculoskeletal adaptations. Consistency beats intensity for most people.
And food matters too. I know we've mentioned calcium, but let's give people real numbers. Because I was shocked by how much the daily recommendation actually is.
The National Institutes of Health recommends 1,000 milligrams of calcium per day for adults under 50. Rising to 200 milligrams for women over 50 and men over 70. A cup of fortified milk has about 300 milligrams. You need to be intentional about hitting that number, especially if you don't eat dairy.
Dark leafy greens, fortified plant milks, almonds, canned salmon with bones. There are options even if dairy isn't your thing.
And I'd add, watch for things that work against you. Excessive alcohol, smoking, high-sodium diets, and even very high caffeine intake have been associated with increased calcium excretion or bone loss in various studies.
That last one hurt a little. I am a coffee person.
Moderate intake appears fine. The concern is with very high consumption. So, your 2 cups in the morning are probably not your bone's biggest enemy.
Okay, that is genuinely a relief. All right, y'all, if you take one thing from today, let it be this. Bone health is not an old person's problem. The habits you build right now, in your 30s, 40s, and 50s, are writing the story your skeleton will tell in your 70s. It's worth paying attention.
And the practical entry point is genuinely simple. Get your vitamin D levels checked, look honestly at your calcium intake, and add 2 resistance sessions to your week. 3 concrete actions, no overhaul required.
We'd love to hear from you. Are you already thinking about bone health, or is this brand new territory? Find us, leave a comment, and if this episode was useful, share it with someone in your life who needs to hear it.
Right. Your future skeleton will be quietly grateful. That's probably the most British thing I've ever said on this show.
And on that note, thank you so much for spending this time with us on the Wellness Rhythm Show. Take care of yourselves, take care of your bones, and we'll see you next time. This show is part of the VoxCrea.ai system. If you want a show like this for your organization without building it yourself,
go to voxcreel.ai and request a sample episode.